my first time here. My name is Ren Wilson, and I'm a friend of Joanna Burdoff's, and she's asked me to come and be a member of this and to be a part of its growth, and so I'm here. What I do is I'm a holistic health coach, and I got my certification through a school called the Institute of Integrated Nutrition, and that's kind of beside the point from what this meeting is tonight. But since Homegrown Missouri is people that are aware and understanding that we need to have food to survive, that food is sacred, and we need to build our own food systems and learn how to feed ourselves and feed our children and feed our community and be aware of the forces that are a part of our health and wellness. So I'm here, that's who I am, and the first thing I'm going to talk about, that was the first thing. The second thing I'm going to talk about, I had the great pleasure of discovering that Missouri actually has a Missouri Organic Association. Have any of you ever heard of that before? I hadn't either. He has, the guy in the camera has. I come from Colorado, and I spent 12 years in Southern California, and I've traveled the world, and I ended up in beautiful Branson. Always wanted to live in the mountains. I just did not know it was going to be the Ozark Mountains. So I thought in '99 when I got here, oh, this is great. I'm going to come here and garden. I'll have a garden and all that. Not so much. But Missouri is a wonderful, wonderful state, and I was so happy that to run across the information that there is an MOA conference that is held every year. This is the fourth year it was held. It was held in Springfield. It was 3 days of very intense workshops and information, an entire spectrum of information on gardening and the state of the plate of Missouri, a 2-day symposium on organic poultry production that brought in the leading experts in the nation. And I was saddened by the fact that our communities and the populace really aren't aware of the resources that are now coming to fruition, like the MOA. But fear not, they cut a 3-year deal with the University Plaza Conference Center in Springfield, and for the next 2 years, that conference will be held in Springfield and accessible to us folk down here in the Branson and the Northwest Arkansas region. And from what I understand, there are some phenomenal things going on with master gardening classes, like sprouting up, and farmers market symposiums sprouting up, to the likes of which I haven't seen in the last 10 years. So I'm very happy about that. If anybody has any question about what that conference was like, it is still on the internet. I'm sure that it is. You can go to Missouri Organic Association and look at what they presented. And I could also make available the schedule and the information that they had in terms of like a photocopy or something like that. You can work out details of getting that to how I can get that to you at some point. I think it's important. I think we need to know what's out there for us to learn from. Let's see, where should I go from there? The next thing that let me just really mention this. The keynote speaker last year for the conference, which was held in St. Louis, Missouri, and the executive director, Sue Baird, said it was just really a mistake to hold it in St. Louis because there there aren't any farmers that want to go downtown St. Louis. So Springfield seems to be a marvelous place for it to be held. And it is. But, you know, Branson's a pretty nice place too. At any rate, it's locked up there for 2 years. The keynote speaker 2 years ago in St. Louis, that was a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Smith. And I do not know if you're aware of his name. He is a leading authority on genetically modified organisms, and he is one of the champions to get that information out and to the public and what it's doing. This year, the speaker was Dr. Don M. Hoover, Professor Emeritus of Purdue University, a plant pathologist, and one of the most renowned researchers of Monsanto's Roundup Ready and what that is doing to our food supply, to our economy, and to the soil. And I don't want to burden you anymore with that, but it's not something to be taken lightly. Then I want to make an announcement that in March, and Dr. Hoover has agreed to let me have his presentation put together, and I would love to share that and share that with other people to get around to getting that done.
So what, is he giving you a video, or is that?
You know the presentation?
Yeah.
You know the presentation we saw?
Yeah.
The PowerPoint
So
presentation?
is that going to be like a DVD, a video, or is it?
What he'll do is provide me with a file format called PDF. I got it from Paul Timlin of Morning Glory Farms, president of Missouri Organic Association. He's located in Springfield. He's also, these guys are, you know, really into preserving, growing, and stabilizing the organic farming model. And we can get into all kinds of nits and gnats about that, but unless we really understand how our food is grown, we're very vulnerable. And what I love about this organization is that everybody in this room understands our vulnerability. And it's also an opportunity to grow a local economy and to provide a source of health and wellness for our future generations. March, the speaker is not going to be me. It's going to, and I'm not, but this, tonight we're having Norma Ross, who will be presenting sprouting wheatgrass and other seeds. And forgive me if I don't get it technically all right. We also have Desiree and Carlos, who we're familiar with, and they're going to talk about the sprouting their grains and what they do. It's a part of what I would call a matrix of health. In March, it will be Matt Farmer, who's the owner-operator of Vintage Paris, I guess, in Hollister, and he has graciously been a site you have met before, and it's also a lovely site to meet during good warm weather because it just makes for a really great community business and gathering. And he will be speaking. He's also a nurse, and I believe he's with the Mercy Hospital System, and he works in the ER department, and he will talk to us about what he sees on a nightly basis. The devastation that poor health and addictions, particularly alcohol and methamphetamine, and how that is destroying a generation. In April, she has agreed, and I hope that it really, really works out for us. We will have the executive director of the Missouri Organic Association, Sue Baird, come and speak with us. And she's also she'll tell you she's a third, maybe fourth generation Arkansas gal. So she's been around. She She has her own business, and she's an organic inspector and a consultant. I mean, she goes through the process of certifying and helping individuals know what it is to become an organic farmer and have that certification. And as I said, she's executive director in May, so she's got a lot of exposure. So, having said that, I'm just, Joanna has asked me to pull together a little bit of information about why we would go through the trouble of sprouting wheatgrass and pea sprouts and mung beans and alfalfa, or why we would soak our grains. Has anybody here, I mean, I'm just going to ask for a show of hands. Does anybody here have any clue why we would go to that kind, why we would use our energy that way?
I have a
Well,
clue.
John does, Ray does, and Carlos does. So I'm going to read a brief introduction as to why we do this. It's just a very short little thing, kind of brief, and if you want a copy of it, I can email it to you, that kind of thing. So I'm going to say this is the benefits of sprouting grains, legumes, and seeds. Credit for sprouting seeds is given to the Chinese. I don't know if any of you have read history and realize that the Chinese were selling the great oceans long before Christopher Columbus, and probably in conjunction with the Vikings. But they germinated mung beans on these ocean-going journeys, and they were all over the Pacific. And they sprouted them in sufficient quantities to prevent scurvy. Now we know that it was centuries later that the British became aware that lemons and such and whatnot prevented scurvy, but the Chinese were doing it centuries before that. So they had to have recognized that something in the sprouting or the germination of mung beans was a factor that was there was a factor that was missing in the non-germinated seeds. And actually that element that happened was actually vitamin C. So in the West, for centuries, beers of all kinds were made from sprouted grains. I'm not a teetotaler. I think beers can be part of my food pyramid, but they have to be real beer. Certain old French cookbooks recommend sprouting dried peas before using them in soups. And bulgur in the Middle Eastern cooking is actually coarsely cracked, sprouted wheat grain. So all of these are using sprouted grains. And with the old methods of harvesting, beautiful images of bringing in the sheaves, haystacks in the fields. That grain was found standing in the open field, and it would be open to the dew that would be left in the morning dew. And that morning dew began the process of germinating those seeds before those seeds were brought in for harvest. So you had the germination already started, even in the harvesting process. The process of sprouting or germination not only produces vitamin C, it also changes the composition of the grain or the seed in beneficial ways. Complex compounds are broken down to simpler elements, and these simpler elements are made more accessible to the digestion system and the gut and the bacteria in our gut. The metabolic activity of resting seeds, its energy increases as soon as they are hydrated during the soaking. So sprouting causes increased hydrolytic enzymes at the beginning of the breaking down of this baby plant. And that improves the composition of the proteins, the fats, the amino acids, the sugars, the B group vitamins, and it decreases starch and the anti-nutrients in these seeds. Sprouting neutralizes enzyme inhibitors, which are present in all seeds. Seeds need to protect themselves so they can make it to the next generation. So the sprouting neutralizes the inhibitors. The sprouting neutralizes those inhibitors, and if we didn't do that, and we ate them as we usually do, they neutralize our own ability and our own enzymes to break down this into a nutritional value, into something that is energy passed along. Instead, it's energy locked and wasted in our bodies. Most importantly, germination neutralizes phytic acid. This is in all the bran of all the seeds, and that's the main protective barrier. That's like, I don't get you for eating me. And the phytic acid is a substance that inhibits the absorption of minerals, and we're talking minerals: calcium, magnesium, copper, zinc, iron. It's when we have a substance that inhibits the uptake of those, that's not a good thing. So because we need those are so necessary for proper functioning at the cellular level. Well, so for a more detailed conversation on germination and sprouting grains, please visit Wikipedia, which is what I did. And that's all I have to say. And with that, I'd like to turn it over first to Norma. And Norma's going to get up and explain what she does and how she does it. And after Norma, we'll have Desiree and Carlos.
We have finger food at its best. And I grew these. So she's going to be giving you buckwheat lettuce and sunflower shoots, whatever you want to call them. So, yeah, and this is wheatgrass, and this is ready to harvest. And if you want to come up later and look at this one, I just planted this one today, so you can see how it's planted, and then you can see how it's ready to harvest. Now, back in, I think it was 76, I had the great pleasure of going to the Hippocrates Health Institute in Boston. And that's Ann Wigmore's place. She's no longer with us. But there, they did wheatgrass juice, and they did the sprouts that I'm going to give you some of tonight. The place was 100% raw. I mean, they didn't even have a hot plate. You couldn't even get a hot tea. So, the miracles that I saw happening there were truly phenomenal. I was there 3 months as a student, and most of the rest of the people came and stayed 3 weeks, and they were there basically because their doctors had said, you know, we've given you all the drugs we could possibly give you, and we can't think of anything else to give you, so go home and die. So they came to Hippocrates Health Institute, ate raw food, and got better. There was one woman there who was just riddled with arthritic pain. She came with her daughter. She came in a wheelchair. At the end of 3 weeks, she went home, and she went home walking. And she wasn't healed, but she was certainly on her way. 3 weeks later, she came back because, well, she was Italian, and you know, Italians like pasta. And pasta makes just lots and lots of mucus and lots inflammation. And so she came back, But this time, it was very different. She was in the same condition as when she came the first time, but this time she knew that what she was eating had caused her condition in the first place. So she was much more committed to the raw food because she also knew she had had experience of the difference in her health that it made. So, and then there was a young child there. She was 12, came with her grandmother. She had juvenile diabetes and was on all high doses of insulin, the highest they could give her. And at the end of 3 weeks, she was down to minimal insulin. So she was on her way to healing also. So I have a quote for you from Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is a biologist, a cellular biologist, who has done, I don't know, 20 or 30 years of the effects of food and other substances on the body at the cellular level. And so here's what this is just this quote is taken from the Biology on Belief. But here's the quote. The rampant use of antibiotics is detrimental to our survival. Antibiotics are indiscriminate killers. They kill bacteria that are required for our survival as efficiently as they kill the harmful bacteria. So that's not real good, but the good news is we don't have to take all of those synthetic antibiotics, which the body knows not what to do with. We can get all the natural antibiotics we need from wheatgrass. So, we can eat raw, fresh, living food. And we can grow it ourselves. It's really simple. And we can grow it year-round. In the house, if you have to. I grew it all winter. Well, you wouldn't want to live in my kitchen, but I'm healthy. I mean, when you don't have any room outdoors, you just bring them in. And so my whole kitchen is covered with things sprouting, and I have a very small sunroom, and it's all covered with things sprouting. And it's kept me, when there's nothing else growing, it's really nice to have something fresh, green, raw, and available. And so there you have it. When I was young, well, I was the first one in the spring, in the woods, in the spring, because those things sprout before you can get the garden tilled and things planted. It's like you've got to wait forever. But I knew everything that was edible in the woods, and as soon as it was that tall, I was out gathering it. So I know about fresh green food. Now, you all thought grass was just the cows, didn't you? It is not. Wheatgrass, we don't eat the grass, but we juice it and drink the juice. And let me just tell you some of the benefits of wheatgrass juice. It is nature's richest source of vitamin A and C. So there you have more C than and it is also very rich in minerals. And the minerals are calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, iron, potassium, sulfur, cobalt, and zinc. And as a very big bonus, it is also abundant in B17. And B17 is the substance that can destroy cancer cells selectively. And so wheatgrass is considered by most people the most healing of the grasses. And so it's easier to maintain health than it is to regain it. However, if you change your habits, you can regain a great deal of your health. But you know, if you start children on this, then they grow up healthy and they don't have to rely on doctors and hospitals and synthetic drugs and, you know, which don't really make you healthy anyway. They can suppress the symptoms for a while, but they don't really make you healthy. Scientists at the University of Texas found that the wheatgrass chlorophyll is really exceptional in content. And we all know that chlorophyll is known as nature's healer, pretty much, worldwide. And here are a few things that chlorophyll does. It suppresses unfriendly bacterial growth in the body, so there we don't have to take antibiotics. It also counteracts ingested toxins. So if they've been counteracted before they have a chance to get into your body and wreak havoc, then you know you preserved your health right there. So that's a great benefit of. Wish I could see better. It also builds the blood's ability to carry oxygen. And you know, when you get those spasms, generally that's because you have a lack of oxygen and the waste builds up there, and so the muscle goes into spasm. We all know about that. It also, besides helping the blood's ability to carry oxygen, it helps to regulate digestion. In addition to that, wheatgrass the juice is a powerful purifier of the stomach, the liver, and the pancreas. So you see, wheatgrass juice is the cornerstone of good health. It promotes blood alkalinity, which reduces or eliminates inflammation. Now, inflammation in the body is the basic cause of every degenerative disease known man. So now, if you want to radically improve your health, drink wheatgrass. And you can also grow greens to add to your salad. I grow buckwheat lettuce, sunflower shoots, and pea shoots. And the buckwheat and the pea shoot just now, sunflower shoots contain all of the amino acids that your body needs to make a complete protein. So you get plenty of protein from greens. You can eat meat if you like. I still eat some. Pea shoots are just slightly behind the sunflower in the overall nutrition. But the pea shoots have an added plus. They have the ability to release the buildup on the arterial walls. So, no hearts, helps reduce the heart attacks, helps reduce varicose veins.
They actually remove plaque.
Yeah. So, there you have it. Raw food is nutrient rich, quick, economical, easy to digest, and it tastes really good. Now, I've lived on these greens all winter. Now, if you want to grow, you might want to write this one down. If you want to grow wheatgrass, you need hard, red, winter wheat. For the sunflower shoots, you want the tiny black oil sunflower seeds. And for the pea shoots, you want dwarf gray sugar pods. And grow mine in the topsoil from Hummers. But the nice thing about that is you buy the soil originally and you plant your seeds in it. But when you harvest the seeds, you put the dirt in the compost. And so you only have to buy the soil once. And so then you recompost and recompost and recompost and you keep using the same soil over and over. And because it has all of the residual of the harvest, it just keeps getting richer and richer. So, that's all I have to say. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
Why do you like to grow the hard red winter wheat?
Because that's the best.
That seems like an opinion. Does that have like more minerals?
It just grows the easiest, and you can try anything. I don't care. I like it.
Well, I don't even know what wheat I tried. We've grown wheat. We've actually grown wheat fully up and harvested the wheat and then grew the wheatgrass from it. But I don't even remember what it was. I think it was a winter wheat definitely because we
Okay.
planted it in the winter.
I will tell you why I grow the hard red winter wheat. Because that's what Ann Wigmore said to grow, and she did all the research.
Okay.
I figure I don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Where do you get your seed?
I order it from a place called wheatgrasskits.com. They have very, very good seed. And you'll notice how sparsely this is, and I got these seeds from Mama Jean's, and they only germinate at best 50%, so I'm throwing them out. And I ordered more seeds from Wheatgrass Kits yesterday. The problem there is that you have, just a minute, you have the shipping, but it's worth it.
I'm just going to bring this up. You get yours from wheatgrasskits.com, but I do know that Bronze Chief out of Montana is a family-owned ranch farm, and I believe that's another source of
Hard red winter.
wheat.
There's also hard red spring.
Well, not sure, but I do know that they're in Montana. It's called Bronze Chef, and I mean, I
How do you
know that they sell that.
How do you spell Ron?
It's bronze, like Indian bronze chef. Google Montana. I don't exactly have their exact name, but I do know that for me, when I use wheat and I like wheat a lot, I would buy that from that farm. And they're Montana farm, their company. Bronze Chief, I think is the name.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other places that you can get it. It's just that I found this
Yeah.
place and they had really good seeds, so I didn't look any
But it
further.
would be worth a call to, ask them and see how many people buy from them and see what their,
Yeah.
their,
Yes, ma'am.
How
How much what?
How much you drink at a time?
Oh,
a day?
I drink 4 to 6 ounces every day.
You do an ounce at a time?
I guess you can. I juice mine all at once, and you do need to drink it as soon as you juice it. And I guess there are other methods of utilizing the values of wheatgrass. However, I have a special wheatgrass juicer. It does nothing but juice wheatgrass. Does a terrific job. So I'm happy with that. How much what?
This produce.
How much will this produce? A tray this size will produce 6 ounces, but this is so sparse. I'd probably be really lucky if I got 4 ounces out of that.
So we have to have a lot.
You're gonna have.
This tray will plant with 1 cup. 1 cup of wheatgrass juice.
Then how many days did it take to get that?
Well, in the summer, it takes 7 days from planting to harvest.
So you've always got 7 going.
Well, now I have about 12 going because it takes longer since it's colder. But in the summer, yeah, I have 5.
You plant every day.
I plant it every day. I plant it every day. And this, you can see this is how, so you just fill the tray full of dirt, press it down, soak the seeds 24 hours and then cover the top with the seeds. Cover it with a wet newspaper. And when it sprouts, which will take about, in the house now, it takes 3 or 4 days for it to sprout. So this is probably about a 12-day growth. But when it's warmer and I can put it outside, 7 days from here to there.
You cut this with scissors? and put
I cut it with scissors.
With salad and so forth.
Oh, no, no, I don't think you can eat it.
You have to chew it for a really long time.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, you have to, so you can try chewing that. I don't,
Is that a masticated juicer?
what?
The one you got, is that a masticated?
My juicer?
Yeah. Is it a masticated juicer that has, like twin screw masticated? Or
No.
A high speed, or what is it? Is it a real high speed deal where you throw it in and just? cut
No,
the-
it's not high speed.
It's not high speed.
It is electric, and I cut this in little fingers full like that, and put it in the top. It's kind of like a meat grinder.
Yeah, it's masticated.
So it goes around like that, and the pulp comes out here, and the juice comes out there. But it's definitely not high speed.
Pretty tough.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think wheatgrass is probably the largest seller online, and they're huge on eBay as well. That's what I bought. It's one of those.
What's the investment into a wheatgrass juicer?
My wheatgrass juicer, I've had about 5 or 6 years, and I think it was around $600.
Wow.
How much was
The
yours?
green power is about $380, and I think it'll do that. It's a good sturdy juicer.
I figure it was a very good investment in my health since I've been to the doctor for the last.
Well, you can use it for a lot of things.
I've been to the doctor since I was 40 years old, so there you have it. So I figure I've got my money's worth. Any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
I read an article a while back that the juice of dandelion leaf is supposed to help treat high blood pressure. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
In the summertime, when I grow my own dandelions, I eat dandelions in my salad every day. So dandelions are very, very good.
Okay, good to know.
They're also very detoxifying for your liver, and they can help with
What?
gout and inflammation.
Okay, I'm done. What?
And you could just use water, like, in a blender if you don't want to spend $700 on. You just have to drink a whole glass instead of 3 ounces, right?
I don't know.
It's just not as potent, I would say.
Right.
If you're doing a juicer, it's straight wheatgrass juice.
Yeah.
But if you use a blender, you're mixing with water, it's not as potent, but it still has wheatgrass juice in it. And you have to strain it, like that's how it's done. You have to strain the whole batch.
Juice is good for a lot of things, though, besides just.
Yeah.
When you
You
mix salad,
can use it for anything.
Where do I make my salad?
no, when you mix salad.
Yes, when I make salad.
You use the salad dressing, you make dressing.
I make my own salad dressing.
Yeah, what kind?
Oh, Lord. Don't ask me that.
Grow bean sprouts.
Bean sprouts? I'm trying to learn how to grow alfalfa sprouts. I don't like sprouting in water. And typically alfalfa sprouts are grown in water. So I'm trying to learn how to grow alfalfa in trays. So, I generally use lemon juice or, you can just use lemon juice and a really good oil and put whatever herbs you want to put in.
I like that stuff. Yep.
2 leaves. Never worked.
You can be my pal.
Yeah. Pretty much the same with peas. I'll let them get about that tall. And my experience with peas is
Yeah.
that.
Next
I did,
up.
I've had to throw out 2 trays of them because they were bitter. A different kind of peach. So stick with the dwarf gray. You soak them 24 hours. Put them on wet soil. You want them close enough that they're touching, but they shouldn't go on top of each other. The wet juice. Well, just do it up. If it first succeed, try again. If it's good, call me. I'll tell you how to do it.
That was a really good presentation. Thank you so much, Norma. It's been really nice. Nice job. I love it. Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. We're just going to expand a little bit on different ways to grow sprouts. People do it in all kinds of different ways. I love the method of growing it in soil. I think it tastes awesome, and you can just cut it, and like it's really clean and nice. A lot of the time, we live in an apartment, so we don't have that much, and we share it with my parents. We don't have that much space to have like trays of soil everywhere. In the wintertime, it's hard to grow outside, although you can. You can have your little cold frames and greenhouses and stuff, but we use jars most of the time. And I really like to soak all the grains and beans I eat. I mean, it's awesome to start focusing somewhere on any seeds, but traditionally, I think we as a people have been soaking and or sprouting our grains before consuming them because of what Renee touched on earlier, the enzyme inhibitors that are present on the surface of the seeds. It's like a skin, basically, of the seeds, and it's a protective layer around it that holds the nutrients inside. So when we don't soak them and we just go straight to cooking, a lot of those nutrients are not available to us. And I've actually found that I've become healthier since soaking my grains and beans before eating. And usually I'll just take like a bowl and I eat a lot of quinoa, I eat all kinds of beans, and I just take a bowl, I soak them. I mean, it varies. The smaller the seed generally takes less time to soak, but that's not always the case, and sometimes I forget to rinse it, and sometimes I soak it longer than other times, but generally I like to soak things for like 4 to 12 hours depending on the seeds. If it's something small like quinoa, like 4 hours is sufficient. And then big things like kidney beans and stuff, more like 8 to 12 hours. And I also do some sprouting. And I brought here the different stages of the seeds. This is sorghum. People make syrup out of it. I like to eat it. I like to put it in soups and stuff. So there's the grain, and then I'll put, this one's also sorghum. I just put it in water, and I filled it it's grown a little bit already, just a little bit. I just did this right before I came. So I put it in water, and I'll let this sit for, probably before I go to sleep tonight, I'll rinse it out. I usually just do it when I think about it. I like to rinse things about 3 times a day, just to be safe. If you don't rinse them 3 times a day, if you forget to rinse for a while, then things can start kind of fermenting, getting smelly, and yeah, it's not as good. It's not as flavorful. So I soak, and then I rinse it, and then I put this cheesecloth on top of the jars, and it makes it easy to rinse. I mean, in the past I've just used my hand and did it like that, but the cheesecloth makes it really easy and nice to rinse, and I just put the little screw top lid on it, and we rinse it a few times a day.
Is that the same thing?
This is actually radish seeds.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot. I just brought what I was kind of working on, but yeah, these are radish seeds, and then these ones are buckwheat. It's another one I was doing. The buckwheat actually you only soak for about 15 minutes. I soak these for about an hour, but because I don't know what it is inside them specifically, but it gets very sticky. So if you soak them too long, it's hard to rinse. So it's good to soak the buckwheat for just like 30 minutes or so, and then rinse them. And I actually brought little sheets, so you can pass these around. It's I found this today. It's really cool on this blog that I found, but it's just a little diagram of how long to soak and sprout each seed. It's something to go by. So this one's the buckwheat, and then these, I'll pass it around. These are my radish sprouts.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, they sprout right in the jar. A lot of people will sprout things, like I've done this before where I've sprouted it in the cabinet, and because they don't get light, they're not developing, like, they don't get green, they're not developing the chlorophyll and the whole good quality. So now I always, after I've rinsed them sufficiently, like for 2 or 3 days, it usually takes about 3 days for them to start sprouting and being like a nice size. But after the initial soaking, I'll put them out on the counter and just let them sit in the sunlight. There's sun coming in the window.
You have to experiment to find out how much to put in a jar so you don't get too much.
I never fill it more than halfway full, and like if I'm actually going to be sprouting in the jar, I think I put maybe a quarter full of that. But yeah, I wing it a little bit, which is why I printed out this worksheet, because most people, it's good to know. It's good to have the basics of it, but yeah. It's really fun. It's super easy. A lot of people do it in bags too. They have these like mesh bags, muslin cloth bags, and you can put it in there and rinse it in there and stuff too. I've never used them,
They
but
say they're good for travel. Bring it out, I guess.
that's true. I've hitchhiked before with glass jars, and it's not a good idea. It's not good to travel with. And okay, so we actually brought some snacks for you too, and we brought napkins. But since you have plates, we can just reuse the plates. We made sprouted grain crackers. Actually, Carlos did that mostly. And a lentil paste, a sprouted lentil paste. So, cracker and some lentil paste. Very delicious. Oh, it smells so good.
How did you make that?
Before
I made them was I sprouted
It is
grain,
good to wash the beans
and
before you soak
after
them.
I
Yes.
sprouted grain, I put it in a food
Yeah, and also
processor.
They just let
when I
the
first
grain
started
just
soaking
sprout a
beans,
little,
I noticed some of them come up to the top, and
Yeah, I let mine sprout
a lot of
like
the time they're like
until I
black
see
or
the little
something
tail
wrong
coming
with
out,
them.
just like even a little bit.
And so for a
Yeah,
grain, that's
a
a
very good
sprout.
point.
Exactly.
And then you put it in the food processor and grind it up.
Then I put it in
Carlos.
the food processor and put my spices and
Sorry, that's a really good recipe. I don't know, do y'all want the recipe for the crackers? Because we could email it to you. I mean, I wrote it, Carlos was winging it, but I wrote it down.
Carlos.
yeah, these
Yeah.
aren't the best
We
ones.
used-
The first time I did this, but
They're awesome, they're so good. We used a dehydrator, like an electrical dehydrator, but it didn't get the crunch that we wanted. So we ended up putting it in the oven so it's not raw. It was heated at what, 325 or something? But
Yeah, only
it's
for
so
like
good.
a-
And it's nutrient dense. It doesn't have the enzymes, they're not alive, but it's got like tons of vitamins and minerals because they're sprouted. So it's very full of nutrients and delicious. But if you have a dehydrator, you can totally just do a dehydrator. It's just the consistency. We like the crunch.
You want to just make a list from us of?
Carlos.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're actually gonna get your emails here after the workshop, so you could just put like a little symbol so we know you want the recipe. Yeah, figure out a little.
What are those?
sprouted grain crackers.
Sprouted grain crackers. Okay.
Yeah, sprouted grain crackers. It's really good. A square?
Thank you.
Sprouted grain crackers.
That's funny.
Yeah, I used
The lentil
spelt.
paste is pretty simple too.
So you made a lentil spread for it, or is it?
Oh, I made the lentil paste, yeah. I sprouted the lentils and then I made it like you make beans, just on the stove until they got really mushy, and then I smashed them up with a potato smasher. And after they were cooked, I cooked it, drained the water, smashed them up. I put some chopped onions, I put garlic powder, I put curry powder, some fresh turmeric, I grated it, and then I let it sit on my counter to kind of ferment it a little
It's like a little
bit,
meal.
just for a day. Yeah, like a tiny little meal.
Yeah.
You're so cute, Carlos. We also brought the radish sprouts. Y'all could, I didn't bring anything to get them out though. I have a spoon, but they're very good. I love the radish sprouts because they're so spicy. Yeah, they taste like a little radish. My dad even liked it. He doesn't like radish that much, but he said they were good.
This is sprouted lentil,
I sprouted the lentils, yes,
and then you cooked it,
and then I cooked it.
and added, garlic and onions.
I put raw onion at the end. I just chopped like a whole onion, I think I used, and I put that in there. And then I put garlic powder and curry powder and fresh turmeric I grated. And I put salt. I put a little sea salt. I think that's it. And then I just pushed it and mixed it. Yeah, do y'all have any questions about how to sprout? Or, you could really sprout anything, any grains, beans, seeds you want to just experiment. It's so much fun. It's not even very time consuming. You just let them sit. It's just a matter of remembering to rinse and stuff. said, you have to
Especially
rinse
in the summertime,
frequently.
because of the
Well, having this is so beneficial.
bacteria.
Yeah, that stuff will start
It'll
growing.
get sour.
Yeah. Which really, I don't think it's like bad for you, it's just bad tasting. I mean, it's just fermenting, but it just smells funny. It's not very palatable.
Different grains on this and mix it with flour.
Do what?
Did he take different grains and mix it with?
He did 2 different ones. Carlos, which one is this? Is this a spelt?
Yeah, this is spelled.
No, no, it's flour at all.
Food processor and just.
Yeah, he
make
put,
taste out of
it was like oil, he put some oils and stuff to make it sticky, and different spices.
Yeah.
But it's just only sprouted grain.
Yeah, the trick to it is like when I put it in the food processor, I drizzle in oil as it's like blending up so that the oil emulsifies and it gets more stickier consistency. Because like I've noticed when I don't do that, it's a lot more crumblier and it doesn't stay together like a cracker does, you know.
I tried it one time and it was a disaster.
You're honest anyway.
Why, what happened? Did you learn from it?
Well, I must have got mysterious because I didn't even do it again.
Oh.
No, it was, like you said, it wasn't emulsified, it was just whenever, it was like, wow, spread all
It happens. I think you should try again. I support you in that decision.
There's lots of good recipes on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, everybody has a different recipe too. I think it's really like a lot of trial and error. See what works for you. I mean, Carlos was doing that. He was just figuring out as he went. He didn't even really, I mean, you looked at recipes. You didn't use one though.
I do.
You guys aren't giving up on anything.
What?
I said the key is not giving up.
Oh, that's a good life motto. Just follow through. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, do y'all have any more questions? If not, we can. Any more questions? Anyone? That's good.
So what all do you do with your sprout? So what's your sprouting thing? What all do you do with that? What do you do with it after that? I mean, do you use some of it, the kind of sprouting that you do, does that lend well to salads or just prepared foods?
You can grind it into flour and make different things out of that, and you
Okay.
can also cook it and put it in soups. There's tons of different uses.
Okay.
Well, like anything that you would use your grains for, like if you're eating rice or quinoa or millet, or if you're making black beans or something, I like to soak it first. I don't necessarily sprout everything. I just soak to start releasing the enzyme inhibitors so that the nutrients can better break down in my body and they can digest it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I really like to soak all the grains and beans that I eat, and then I also spend time sprouting too. But
And then so there's kind of like a bean and grain sprouting process where you usually cook them or you don't put them in salads because they have such a small sprout. But then there's other kinds of sprouts like we did soup.
and soup sprouts. Yeah, some sprouts grow bigger than other sprouts. That's why Norma probably prefers to do certain sprouts as sprouts.
It's just too damn much trouble to do it in jars, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Do you do all those in soil?
I grow all mine in soil.
Okay. So all her sprouts have roots and
Yeah, but see, when you sprout them, like the reason I don't like it, and it's a personal thing. I mean, a lot of people love doing this, and so, when you sprout them in a jar, you have to then try to get the seed hull off.
Oh, I don't do that.
And you're also eating the root, or you're eating the seed hull, whatever.
The seed hull is just it's just fiber. It's
I
like
don't like it.
it's insoluble fiber, and it helps you poop. It's good. Fiber's good. I like it.
Well,
I mean, 'cause
besides-
the seed is not a seed anymore. It's really just the skin, and your body can pass it through really easily. It's not just like taking a bunch of seeds and just eating the seeds.
Right.
It's like a little skin.
Once
You
it's
can-
sprouted,
you
it's
can see
different.
it. Hmm?
So once it's sprouted, it's different.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
seed no longer has what it was in the seed is now outside the seed. It's the sprout. So
You know, the
seed
sweetgrass
itself-
kit thing, they have trays where you can put your sprouts in trays, and they got a little automatic, that's what we bought. It's one of those little automatic machines, and it's about that size, but it's covered. It's all covered, and you put water in it, and it waters it on a, you know, depending on what kind of seeds you got in it. You just set it, and it does it automatically. You just set it by the window,
That
and
sounds
off
like
it
a
goes.
terrarium. That sounds like a terrarium. It just reminds me of like.
Well, kind of, but I mean, it cuts on. It gives it the right amount of water, the right time
Yeah.
of day, and it just does it automatically for you.
That's cool.
And, I don't know. I think they're about $170. But you know,
I cook all
just sit
every
by the
day,
window and turn it
3 or 4
on.
times a day.
Yeah,
I love cooking.
no interaction. But you know, like she says, it'll grow that much
I eat raw too,
wheatgrass in
yes,
one
but
week.
I also feel like cooking food is very good. I mean, I cook my food with a lot of thought, time, and effort. All the food, or I don't want to say all, but most of the food that we personally eat comes from local farms, and we try to understand and have a lot of respect for the people growing the food that we eat. And I think that is a really important thing with our food, is that we need to know it. We can cook it, we can prepare it, but put thought into it and embrace the love that was put into the food. I think that's what we need to do. And that's what we try to do. Yeah. We have lots of great recipes. So, okay, we've got this awesome little sheet here. If you want to get the newsletters and updates and stuff from Homegrown Missouri, put your email address. We don't have it yet. And also put a little, I guess we could put a square next to it if you want to get recipe emails, and I'll send you the recipe.
Square with a couple dots on
A
it.
square with a couple dots. And I'll just a square and we'll know that's a cracker. Yes. Seriously, if you want to get the recipe, put a square next to your name. We'll send you the cracker recipe. And any other recipes you want. And also check out our website. It's www.homegrownmissouri.org. It's looking really awesome. Carlos has been working on it. He's doing a fantastic job.
All right.
Homegrownmissouri.org.
Yeah, and post it up, and maybe just give you a little bit of idea, some ideas of what you're doing. I myself sprout occasionally, and I might use that, I use a little sprouting bag, and I'll put that, just eat it. I just need something raw and clean. What's that?
Your sprouting bag?
You know, the sprouting bag that I use, I bought way too much for it, but if you can get a clean organic cotton or a clean burlap or hemp bag, you can use that. You need to, it's dark, it's in there, you need to soak your beans, you soak it in water, bring it out, you let it dry, and you just watch it.
So you can rinse them by just dipping them in the bag?
Yeah, just take the bag and dip it in a bowl of water. That's one way.
I saw those hip bags on some website that I was looking at.
Oh, they're very expensive. I can suggest to you that you go to Wikipedia and just put sprouting in, and it's got an incredible amount of information about sprouting. It's wikipedia.com. WIKIPEDIA.com. And when you go to what's that?
Is it, you sure it's not .org?
Might be .org.
I think Wikipedia is a .org. It's .org.
But I'll tell you what else is even simpler than that. You just put sprouting,
You'll see it.
benefits of sprouting, and Wikipedia will come up.
Yeah.
So what I do as a holistic health coach, and what my cancer coach told me to do, because everything that we do takes energy. So what we try to do is give ourselves the best energy that we can, the cleanest energy that we can. And grains are difficult for our bodies to digest. So for people who are really seriously, dealt some issues that they're facing, that their body needs a lot of energy to heal, you might want to really back off grains and beans and legumes and get to a very simplistic seed like quinoa or maybe rice. But in all cases, what you do is soak your rice. And I do that. I soak my rice. The rice that I usually get is a basmati rice. Of all the rices, that seems to have the best nutritional profile. I soak the rice. I soak the beans 24 hours.
How long do you soak the rice?
It depends upon the rice, but a hard brown rice, if you soak at least 12 hours or, it won't hurt it at all. If you soak a starchy rice like that, you'll just have mush. Beans, definitely. definitely your white beans, your black beans, your kidney beans, your garbanzo beans, soak them. They cook much better, and then the enzymatic activities occurred, so you don't have the gas that builds up in your digestive system.
Okay.
So those are the reasons we do that. And we mentioned grains, we mentioned seeds, don't forget nuts. Nuts are seeds. So you soak your nuts and let those dry out, and those are better. I hear these guys are laughing. You soak the seeds, and that makes them accessible to your body and easier for you to put down. So that's, we're going to close it out, and this we had everyone sign. I'd really love you to sign it because it kind of gives us an idea how many attended tonight. And then I guess put a check by it if you want the cracker recipe.
Check or box, whatever.
All right. Thank you for coming, and I'm glad to be a part of it.